y'all, this is Marla K. Hope everybody is well. I want to talk to y'all about the Proclamation on Transgender Day of Visibility 2024. The only reason that I want to talk about it, because I want to talk about it from a spiritual and a biblical perspective, a prophetic perspective. So, as Babylon falls, it's going to do everything it can to get as many people as they can to go against the law, statutes, commandments, ordinances of the Most High. And so, by us continuing to embrace the things that got the earth destroyed, not once, but twice. Well, now the whole earth was destroyed once, and then two cities were destroyed once, in addition to all the other times that Israel and heathens in general have been destroyed for going against the natural order of things, the way that the Most High created, for us to interact with each other, for us to, fulfill His wishes on this earth. And so the proclamation basically is a slap in the face to Christians, because Christians and Catholics hold two different ideologies, clearly, but not so much. Because if you look at the Catholic Church and the Inquisition and the Crusades and how they killed and enslaved and raped and stole folks' children and had just did all types of atrocious things. You think of the sex crimes that have been committed over centuries to children in Catholic orphanages. And the same thing with Christians. You think about all the Christian missions and going all over the world, planting churches, getting children, these folks going all over the place, Children of the Corn, setting up these places where they can just basically have their way with other people that they thought less of, or just say it in a nice way. There's not really much difference between the Catholic Church and the Christian Church. Now, I know Black people, Negroes, Israelites who don't know who they are going to be probably offended by hearing this if they hear this. But it's the truth. If you just go do your own research and understand what happened to us even before the transatlantic slave trade, all throughout the Bible, the Israelites were killed, persecuted, raped, had their children taken away for failing to convert and wanting to keep the law, statutes, and commandments and ways of the Most High. So this is another instance where, now the Gentiles have had an opportunity to rule. The Gentiles have had an opportunity to be light, and they were trying to, and kind of did it somewhat within their rule period of 400 years. But now they've swayed to darkness, and they've swayed to darkness because the adversary is using them. The adversary understands that his time is up. And so he got to try to convince as many people as possible to go against the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High so that they can receive eternal damnation and suffer through, not even suffer through, be tormented through the troubles and trials and tribulations and wrath that's coming. So one of the reasons, and this is like a confirmation that America is just basically doomed and about to be judged, is because of this proclamation. So I'm going to read it to you. It was it came out on March the 29th, but it was officially observed by the President of the United States, leader of the alleged free world, on Easter Sunday, which is a day that is dedicated to Ishtar, the fertility god. So if you research the whole thing, like, it makes sense, because Easter is really not a sacred day. Easter is a day a day that was made up by Rome. We're supposed to observe Passover, and that's what I'm observing. I didn't observe Easter, but you can't tell Christians, especially Israelite Christians, anything about their holy days or their sacred days that their enemy has given to them. So even as we try to wake them up, they still won't understand. But this was a direct assault, not just on people who try to observe, who do believe in the word, but just are ignorant to the fact of that their holy days really are not holy, and their calendar days are really not Yah's calendar days. They just don't know. So not only was it a slap in the face to Christians, but it was also a type of luring or a last minute attempt to fish for Israelites who have been indoctrinated by Gentile ways and heathen ways and don't really understand what's about to come. I find it ironic that they do this the week before Passover and like on the day almost that we observe our uh, feast days. So nothing that they do is accidental. If you look at and see when they do these things, you'll understand that everything that the Most High told us to do, they're going to do the opposite. We're supposed to be in mourning and sorrowful. They got the rainbows and happy and joyful and, you know, uh, adoring fornication and abomination because it's abomination basically. God didn't make no trans nothing. So um people can be offended all they want, but he didn't make that. So it's just something that man is doing, and they're doing it based on their feelings. Yahuwah don't care about our feelings. He don't care nothing about them. Don't care nothing about them. But anyway, let me read this proclamation. So it says, on Transgender Day of Visibility, we honor the extraordinary courage and contributions of transgender Americans and reaffirm our nation's commitment to forming a more perfect union where all people are created equal and treated equally throughout their lives, unless you is a nigger. They don't care about you if you're black, if you're a Negro, if you're a descendant of chattel slavery. They don't care about you. You are the only people that are not supposed to be equal. So this is doo-doo. But what do you expect from a racist president in a racist country who works for a racist institution, who hates Israelites because they know who we are? So when you know who you are, you ain't even mad no more. It's like, I see you, devil. I see you. I see you, Hasatan. I see ya. So it says, I am proud that my administration has stood for justice from the start. Lies. Working to ensure that alphabet community can live openly. Yeah, you did that. In safety. Yes, you did that. With dignity and respect. Yep, you did that too. I'm proud. And at our expense. Because a lot of our people helped and supported you in those endeavors, and then you just omitted helping us, and all the other groups did too, the alphabets too. They didn't help you either, black people. So I don't know why y'all so all caught up and enamored by all these different activities for all these different groups, because at the end of the day, ain't nothing for you still. I am proud to have signed the historic executive orders that strengthens civil rights protections in housing, employment, healthcare, education, the justice system, and more. I am proud to have signed the Respect for Marriage Act into law, ensuring that every American can marry the person they love. Everything against the Most High. Law, statutes, and commandments He has done. Transgender Americans are part of the fabric of America, whether serving their communities in or in the military, raising families, or running businesses. They help America thrive. They deserve and are entitled to the same rights and freedoms as every other American. Everybody except for the Negro. You hear that? Now, he ain't done nothing for black people, but here they trying to scrape the bottom of the rusty pot, trying to get y'all to go vote for him. Y'all better wake up. But extremists are proposing hundreds of hateful laws that target and terrify transgender kids and their families. Notice it's focus on the kids now. Why do you think they focus on the kids? Why does the Catholic Church love focusing on the kids? quite predatory. Y'all got to see the plot. Silencing teachers, banning books, and even threatening parents, doctors, nurses with prison for helping parents get care for their children. These bills attack our most basic American values: the freedom to be yourself, the freedom to make your own health care decisions, and even the right to raise your own child. This is part of the last days. Now, this is where you start seeing, oh yeah, we are in the days of Noah and Lot. If you want to know what they was doing in the days of Noah and Lot, go read Genesis. Read that book. It'll tell you what was going on. We are in those times right now. So it says, at the same time, an epidemic of violence against transgender women and girls, especially women and girls of color, they love to throw color in there, continues to take too many lives. Let me be clear, all of these attacks are un-American and must end. No one should have to be brave just to be themselves. At the same time, my administration is working to stop the bullying and harassment of transgender children and families. Again, they're focusing on children. Department of Justice has taken action to push back against extreme and un-American state laws targeting transgender youth and their families, and the Department of Justice is partnering with law enforcement and community groups to combat hate and violence. Well, that don't mean nothing. My administration is also providing dedicated emergency mental health support through our nationwide suicide and crisis line. Any Alphabet Plus young person in need can call 988 and press 3 to speak with a counselor to support them. So they have their own crisis line. Can we get a crisis line for racism? Can we get a crisis line for reparations? Can we get some reparations? I'm just saying it out loud. I know they're not going to do it, but I'm just saying, you see how they just move on past the Israelites. They move on past the Negro. They move on past the descendants of chattel slavery. They move on from the descendants of freemen and act like nothing has happened. And they help all these other groups with those very protections that were meant to help and protect us. And at the end of the day, guess who's being protected the most? White people, the very people who don't need no protection because they rule everything. So at the end of the day, even the alphabet community, the coloreds in the alphabet community, they don't have the same protections as white people because they create these systems and these institutions and these things to, one, cover up their degeneracy, and two, so that they can transition power, and it's basically now has diluted the little bit of power that we did have and take away the few rights that we did have and transfer those rights to white women and men who already had the rights and power. So, once you think about it from a legal perspective and you think about the original Civil Rights Act of 1865, 1866, I can't remember. But that it was specifically designed for descendants of slaves, freed descendants of slaves. Now everybody and their grandmama gets civil rights privileges, and we don't get nothing. So it's really stupid of us to keep on supporting these efforts. But that's neither here nor there now. We're dealing with a president who look at this. Look at this. I'm gonna show y'all this logo. I don't know if y'all can see it. Do y'all see the Easter? Oh, I blew it up too much. The Easter bunny and the eggs. Look, Easter bunny and the eggs, telling you what they're about. Oh, I must have left off the page, I think. Let me go back. Think I messed up. I did. Okay. So it says today. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. Let me read this too. We are making public services more accessible for transgender Americans, including the more inclusive passports and easier access to Social Security benefits. So just being transgender makes you eligible for Social Security benefits. But here we are. We getting told we got to work till we at 190 to draw benefits when they just get benefits for being confused about who they are. Do you see how crazy this is? This is a big old Ponzi scheme. There's much more to do. I continue to call on Congress to pass the Equality Act to codify civil rights protections for all alphabet Americans, but nothing for Black people. Today, we send a message to all transgender Americans. You are loved. You are heard. You are understood. You belong. You are American. You are America. And my entire administration and I have your back. He told Black people that too. Didn't he tell us he had our back before we voted for him? And what he did, he stabbed us in the back like Chucky. You've been stabbed so much you done bled out. Ain't no more blood in you. You're just gone. So this man is telling you who he works for. And it ain't the Most High. Now, therefore, I, Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States of America, by virtue of authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim March 31st, 2024 as Transgender Day of Visibility. That is Easter Sunday. The fact that Black Christians ain't mad, ain't said nothing about it is tripping me out. But just goes to show you how the church in general is in the sunken place, and which is why, if you read the book of Revelations, it talks about the churches being judged. This is why the church is going to be judged. We're like living the last days and seeing why the churches are going to be judged. They're not teaching present day truth. They're not teaching the word of the Most High. They're doing anything. You can't tell the world from the church. And they're silent when it comes to checking your kings. They don't check them. So it's crazy. I call upon all Americans to join us in lifting up the lives and voices of transgender people throughout our nation and to work toward eliminating violence and discrimination based on gender identity. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand this 29th day of March in the year of our Lord. I don't know who his Lord is. 2024, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 248th. Joseph R. Biden Jr. So, if y'all don't think that this country gonna see some judgment coming and wrath, you're mistaken. It's coming. Just hold on. Now, I just want to read one more thing before I end this video. And I found this in a online periodical called thestatenews.com. And it says the founder of International Day of Visibility shares her story, insights on the day. So the International Transgender Day of Visibility is celebrating its 15th anniversary on March 31st. Its creation is attributed to a founder of Michigan's first transgender organization and MSU alumna Rachel Crandall Crocker. Lord have mercy. International Transgender Day of Visibility serves to educate and illuminate the struggles and triumphs of transgender individuals. It's so hard saying that. Y'all don't, my mouth is hurting. Fostering connections among trans identifying people and allies for a brighter future. Crandall Crocker said, it aims to dispel misconceptions and provide hope and truth, particularly for transgender youth. I really believe this day helps people connect with one another, Crandall Crocker said. That's one reason I created this day, so we don't have to feel alone anymore. From a young age, Crandall Crocker says she struggled with her transgender identity. Living in a small rural town in Michigan made it impossible to live the life she desired. Not the one that Yah created for her, but she desired. After Years of cross-dressing in the privacy of her home and seeking community in transgender support groups. She says she finally came out to her family and her wife at home. The backlash Crandall Crocker experienced following her transition was both profound and devastating. Forced out of her job and marriage and ostracized by her community, she found herself grappling with isolation and despair. It was during this tumultuous period that Crandall Crocker said she discovered the power of advocacy and community organizing. And this is why you have to be very careful with when they talk about community organizing and advocacy. Like, I had to learn this the hard way during the Obama administration, but it taught me this. This is what I learned during the Obama administration, is that this, um, what we've been doing was community organizing and advocacy, but they took our things that we did for ourselves, and then they used us to help all these other groups, including this alphabet community. And when I started seeing that's what time it was, that's when I checked out of politics. That's when I stopped working for campaigns. I stopped doing everything. I even stopped going to church. Because I don't know why. I just had an awakening in 2008, 2009. And I really haven't been back. I haven't been a member of a church since then, and I don't have any intentions of going into church to be a member. Now, I do go visit from time to time, just to fellowship with my people and just kind of take the temperature and see if what's going on. But it's like very hard to um, wake Black people up, because right now, if you try to adhere to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High and live strictly by the word as a believer, people make you feel like you're crazy. And you're crazy if you speak out against this type of behavior, or these beliefs. Whereas this is what we're supposed to do. And this is what the Bible talks about. When you lukewarm, you ain't even lukewarm if you ain't speaking out against this, because the whole purpose of being a Christian is because you're going to, not a Christian, a believer is because you plan to live a certain lifestyle that was given to us as Israelites. Um, to preserve us from all the craziness and shenanigans that we're experiencing today. And because of Christianity and the Catholic Church, and they created all these divisions, and then the people who split from them created all these different denominations. Now here we are, centuries later, with a bunch of mess. We don't remember nothing. We don't know nothing. We're not being taught right. And that was the goal from the beginning, to make sure that you always be in line with Rome and not in line with the Most High, doing what the adversary wants you to do instead of doing what the Most High wants you to do, living the way that men and women should live in according to the book of Genesis, instead of living the way that the heathen teaches us to live and worshiping what they teach us to um, do in this hedonistic society. So at the end of the day, Babylon is about to be judged, and you have to know that even if they do this on their holy day, which it wasn't a Catholic holy day, but Christians, um, they're setting up for this fight. And I've been telling you about the eco Sabbath, and they're not arguing with no other religion except for Christians, because Christians are the only group of people who potentially have the power to wake up and cry out and redirect and go back to God's commandments, and rededicate themselves to righteousness and holiness. But you can't do it if you keep on getting these distractions, and you're not paying attention. You're not keeping watch. You're not paying attention to the times. You don't understand what was going on during the days of Lot and Noah. This whole mixing of DNA, splicing genes, making hybrid people, uh, all this rape and fornication, men raping men. If you read the story about Lot and how the men were trying to come and rape the men angels that came to Lot's house, and Lot basically gave his daughters away to keep the men safe. Like, it's just wild that people don't really understand what happened during that time and why the Most High destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah with fire. Remember, he destroyed with fire. And he destroyed the earth with water during the days of Noah. But he gave Noah 120 years to warn people before the rains came. And then after the rains ended and they got out of the boat, the rainbow appeared. And there's a promise from God that he would never destroy the earth by water again. And who has taken the rainbow and turned it into a symbol of pride and freedom and joy for abomination? Rome, the adversary. So when you get down to the nitty gritty and you understand spiritually what's happening and prophetically what's happening, y'all got to know this place finna be on fire. It's finna burn. Y'all better start praying, start fasting, start getting your souls together, because the Most High finna gather his Israelites, his chosen, his elect, and he finna set this place on fire. So, if you are sinning, you need to repent. If you're not praying, you need to pray more. If you're not reflecting on the goodness of the Most High and fortifying yourself with the armor of the Word so that you can uh, rebuke and reject any evil and darkness that's trying to come into your life, you better, because darkness is coming. This nation is getting ready to be judged, and it's 1 week away from this eclipse. You cannot tell me this stuff is not tied to occult practices and just whatever else. Like, it's just insane. I never thought I'd be living to see any of this. But I'm thankful that I was chosen to live through this time. I'm thankful that I have been awakened. I'm thanking for the grace and mercy of the Most High, that he has allowed me to come out of my darkness and come out of my sin and come out of my wicked ways and come out of the church to, find him again and to understand that we can't continue to go on like this because it's not fruitful, and you're not going to get nothing but bad fruit when you know got a bad foundation or a bad tree. So anyway, I just want to share these stories with you and just demonstrate further how this administration and how this country mocks the Most High. This country has turned away from Yahuwah, and we're about to be judged. And they know it. They know it. So they're going to try to get you to do as much dirt and love as much filth and abomination as they can and get you to stay in as much sin as you can, because they want you to go to hell with them. They want you to receive eternal damnation with them. A lot of these people already know that they're not even human anyway. These people are fallen angels. They're not human. They know. You don't know, but they know. By the time you figure it out, it's going to be too late. So get into your word. Learn about fallen angels and the Nephilim and the angels that were kicked out of heaven for being disobedient and trying to uh, be God or the Most High. Read the book of Genesis, because everything that's happening now, it already happened. There's nothing new under the sun. And seriously, there's nothing new under the sun. People just don't believe it because we've been trained to think that nothing is real in that book. But the Bible is a history book for the Negro, Israelites, those of us who are scattered all over the earth. And if you read it and read it from a perspective of not being a Gentile, not being someone who's not a part of the faith, but when they talk about Israelites, put yourself, if you're a descendant of chattel slavery, scattered, put yourself in that position. Then it will come to life to you. Then you will understand. That's your history book. They're talking about your ancestors. That's your cousins and great, 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 great aunties and grandmamas and your people. Them your people. all that stuff that happened to them it's going to happen. It's happening to us. It has happened to us. It is happening to us. It is a living, breathing testimony of our history. And the adversary has taught us that it belongs to everybody but us, that it is, they've switched places with us. They've put themselves as Israelites and written us out of the book, but the book was never written for them. It was never written about them. They're in it, but it's not about them. It's about the Israelites. So, um, y'all keep prepping, keep praying, keep seeking the Most High, obey those laws, statutes, and commandments. Try to wake as many people up as you can, and do not fall into the traps that these tools of the adversary are setting up for us. Fast and pray this week so that you can see what's coming. And you can see the evil and see the wickedness. It's just a cloud over this nation, and you want to be asking the Most High to let you escape it, because that's the only way we're going to be delivered from this foolishness. All right, y'all, this is Marla K. Love y'all, and I'm out.